Hey, it's Wayne DeFrancesco. We're going to take a look at everyone's favorite subject, Tiger Woods playing at the PGA. A lot of interesting stuff going on there. I want to remind you to, if you like what I do on these videos, to check out my website. We're about to launch our instructional videos, so if you like what I do here, you can actually have it done for yourself. Just send me a video, and for a very small fee, I'll take a look at your swing and comment on that. Now, we've got some real big changes going on right now in Tiger's swing. He's been seen practicing with Sean O'Hare and Hunter Mahan, who, as everyone probably knows by now, are being taught by Sean Foley. So if you didn't know Sean Foley, he spent a lot of time with Mike Bennett and Andy Plummer, so a lot of the things that you're seeing Tiger work on, what are making some obvious changes in his swing, are very stack and tilt oriented. So although that has gotten kind of the bad name, it's kind of funny that those principles are coming into play here with Tiger, as Foley, who has obviously given it his own brand and his own take on things, but spent time with Mike Bennett and Andy Plummer to get a solid foundation in what they were trying to do with their swing. So let's take a look. Now, this is Tiger. This is only this last week, I think, at the Bridgestone when he was filmed on the range, just hitting some shots. So if you take a look at the way the shaft plays during the swing here, you'll see the hands stay into the body a little bit in the beginning, but the club is well up outside the hands, and then the hands come up, and the left arm is way more in front of the chest here, which makes the club look a little bit flat to the plane. Now, I don't know where it came from that Haney was trying to get Tiger to do this. This is not Haney. This is Harmon. Harmon was all about, you watch anybody that Harmon teaches, and the hands are going to come away from the body, and the left arm is going to be out in front of the sternum, like this one. Now, if you watch these are some little practice back and forth he was doing on this par 3. Now, this first one, you can really see it. The hands are going to almost come in and hit him in the leg here. Look at that practice. That is way, way deeper than he's been working on recently. So by deeper, we mean the left arm across the chest, the hands now more underneath the shoulder, the right elbow to all the way over to the side. And what's going to happen, it's going to help him steepen up his shoulder turn, and it's going to get the club more vertical, so it's less left at the top. So this is way off. Now, you can see the pattern in this swing over here is to lift the club up, roll it over, and drop it in. So a lot of drop. Now, he did a nice job of getting it back onto the shaft plane, but you'll notice that the exit is a little more out in front of him. So it's kind of a loopy looking semi-manufactured movement. And when the club comes into the body more, this begins to look much, much more conventional, more fluid. It will allow him not to have to reroute the club so much. So here's this little last one here. You can really see a little closer view. There's a little space. I always kind of watch the space between the hands and the leg in there. And when that space disappears like that, you know that the arms are coming in across the chest. So the picture's kind of disappearing there, but you can see where those hands are in relation to his shoulder. Then we get up to where he hits the shot, and you'll see he pretty much does what he was trying to do here in a nice movement. So again, in, across him. And the big deal here is if you draw that shaft line down there, it's inside the ball, right on the plane. Really nice. And excellent at the top as well. The wrist looks different. The wrist looks more conventional. Whenever he moves the club like this, his hands get under the club better. I think his grip has changed a little bit. I think he probably changed it a few weeks ago or a few months ago, whatever. And it looks better to me. So from here, the downswing doesn't have to drop back quite as much, which I think is a good idea. Now, if we look at a longer swing, let's take a look at a driver swing. So we've got over here, we were looking at the Masters, and then when we go to PGA just the other day, it's a 3-wood. So again, let's take a look. Now we notice a little bit of a change in the posture. I'd say he's a tad more bent over, which again is going to automatically steepen up the shoulder angle at address. And then if we watch the club go back, we'll see again a big difference in the general pattern of this swing. Look how much out this is going. And if you think he was cutting this, there's no way, because this is you can see this hole doesn't set up for any kind of a cut shot. That big tree on the left means that he's not trying to cut this. So this is way more Harmon-like, out in front of him, the hands in front of the sternum, and the club laying off. So when we watch this swing here, this is going to be radically different, and to my mind a lot better. Kind of like this. Camera's moving a little bit, but we'll watch it without the lines. So watch the hands. You can see the space between the club head, the butt of the club, and the legs get a little smaller, so the arms are coming in. So that looks different in the shoulders. The right elbow is more toward the side, less here's this elbow here. His right elbow is over here. And the big difference here, if we draw this shaft down to the inside of the ball, and then I draw it up, it's way closer to plane. Now watch as it comes up. You'll see the hands go above the line, and the club, the whole shaft, will go above that plane line. So the much different progression than this one. So check this one out. Here's the plane down to the ball. Now watch where the club goes. Look at the whole shaft underneath and the hands above. So flatter wrist, definitely more laid off. Now with the club climbing like that and getting more vertical, I think it's a lot easier for him to bring it down without dropping it back. So with the club pointing that far left, when he lowers like he does, he has to really roll it down hard. I think that just makes it more difficult to square the face. So I kind of like this action here. Now he was working on some. Now this is classic. This is classic Mike and Andy. They'll put a shaft in the ground and set it up to the back of the head there like that to keep the head from moving backwards. And again, any rightward movement in the head is going to tend to flatten off the shoulders and make the thing more rounded. So this would be hands and arms inward, wrists getting underneath the shaft, and the head staying more centered. And in spite of what Peter Kostis keeps saying, if you look at the progression of head movement here as far as vertical, you'll see this is pretty classic Tiger. Nice and evenly down and then down again, compressing into the ground until about where the left arm is 45 degrees down, and then the rest of it is thrust up into the ball. So there we go. I think he's on the right track. I think everyone else is in trouble as soon as he starts putting good. I think he'll be back. Not like he ever went anywhere. Everyone else is going crazy with this, but again, 14 majors, and if you look at the guys you would consider the hot guys, Rose, Mahan, O'Hare,